Welcome back to the WFT Declassified podcast. We are back tonight with a mock draft. This is our 2.0 mock draft. Free agency is basically over, at least for all the exciting moves. So now we're going to tell you how the Commanders are going to fill their needs in the draft, all their picks. We're going to talk about it right here. Thank you to everybody listening. We had over 3,000 people watch us last week on YouTube alone. Our audio numbers are booming. Make sure you share, tell a friend, make sure they subscribe. If you're watching this and you have not subscribed, hit the button. What are you waiting for? I mean, come on. Let me say what's up to Eric. What's going on, Eric?
I'm ready to do some mock drafting. That's what's going on.
Let's go.
I'm pumped. You can see I got my game face on.
You sure do.
It just happens to be very similar to my I just woke up face and most of my other faces. But it's there.
Face.
Yeah.
Brian, what's going on?
Same stuff, man. I'm excited. I got my mock draft. Let's do this thing.
He has handwritten notes in 2022. Let's go. This shall be fun. We're going to kick it off in the first round. Pick 11. Eric, you are up at the podium. Who are you taking?
I don't have written notes on paper. I have a cell phone, but no shame, Brian. I know your mimeograph is broken. Number 11, we're going to get Carson Wentz some help. And I know I said we'd probably go with one of those Ohio State receivers, but I'm going to go back on my word because I'm taking Jameson Williams because he's my favorite receiver in this draft. He is everything I want in a wide receiver. He is fast. He is slippery. He's got all the open field moves. He is very, very good. He is exactly what this team needs. The guys from Ohio State, I love them. They're basically carbon copies of Terry, which I love Terry. Could have a ton of Terrys on my team. Jameson Williams, just a little bit of a different dynamic. I think he's more apt to make something out of nothing than some of those guys are. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And he may not be ready at the start of the season with the torn ACL that he got late in the year last year. He doesn't have to be. There's other receivers on this team that, he can bring him along slowly. But Jameson Williams out of Alabama, he's my number 1 pick at 11.
That's a very intriguing pick because it's a little bit of a reach because of the injury, but you're ready to go all in, right?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of thinking that they're going to move back in the first round anyway. Like I didn't do that for this draft. I'm not going to worry about trades, but I would not be surprised to see them move back, maybe acquire some more picks. But yeah, Jameson Williams, even at 11, I don't have a problem taking him there because he's that good. He's excellent. He's going to be the best receiver that comes out of this draft.
His NFL comps I see are Will Fuller, Hollywood Brown, and Henry Ruggs.
What do they have in common?
Speed. All right, Brian, what do you got? Pick 11.
I've got the Ohio State wide receiver, Garrett Wilson. He's 6 foot, 183 pounds, and he's an elite separator. He has speed, and he can uncover quickly. And one of his kind of calling cards, trademarks, is his instant acceleration. I think we had talked about last week with the wide receivers, some of the taller wide receivers, they need a big runway to get up to full speed. He does not. He can take like 3 steps and he's at full speed. As soon as he catches the ball, he can put on the afterburners and get down the field quickly. That's something that this offense needs, especially with a lot of the shorter throws that we have. But now that we have a quarterback who has a big arm, we can utilize his speed all over the field, and we just need to get him the football. And we've got a guy who can do that now, and he can really put pressure on a defense that they have to cover the entire field. They can't just sit in the middle of the field like before and just try to blow up Terry every time we throw it to him. So Garrett Wilson is the guy.
So his comp I saw out there was Marvin Harrison, and everybody that is in the draft.
Come on, man.
Oh, hey,
come on.
That one.
That's a yeah. No, let's dial it back just a hair.
I heard it.
There's got to be somebody. I mean, not that the potential isn't there, but come on, that can't be your NFL comp.
I've been hearing lately Odell Beckham is what lately people have been saying about him with his ability to catch some of these off target throws, some of these hey, if Heineke was throwing him the ball, some of these high throws, he's able to, adjust his body and catch those. So that's the most recent one. I hadn't heard Marvin Harrison before.
Yeah. You guys both went wide receiver, and you're thinking that we're going to get help for Wentz. But I was listening to something. I heard Pete Prisco this week tell his audience how much the Commanders are still very much in love with Dyami Brown. And then you factor in the fact that they have Terry, they have Dyami, and they have Curtis Samuel. To me, that doesn't spell receiver in the first round. Now, Garrett Wilson, by all accounts or most accounts, is the best receiver in the draft, from what everybody's saying.
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams has a lot of supporters, but I just don't see that happening in Ashburn. I actually think we're going to go defense. I went with cornerback Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson.
Ooh.
His comp is Jair Alexander of the Green Bay Packers, a phenomenal cornerback there. He's scheme diverse and he creates turnovers. What more can you ask for? Yes, I know we have William Jackson III last year and we have Kendall Fuller. Benjamin St. Juste was a draft pick last year in the third round, but he's never on the field. So I'm not waiting. We got to get help. We got to get help now on defense because our defense was leaking like crazy last year. Let's turn it on. We're going to get Andrew Booth Jr. at pick 11.
That seems high. I think every mock I've seen with him, he's in the 20s. Where he's going off, or maybe closer to the end of the first round. But he's certainly a good player. He could certainly get time in our defensive backfield. Absolutely.
That is an interesting pick.
Hey, look, we took our guy last year, Jamin Davis, at 19, when a lot of people had him a little bit later than that. So
how'd that work out?
Reach. He's not. Hey, I'm just telling you, there's history there.
I got you.
Kick it off in the second round, pick 47, I believe it is. Eric, who are we taking?
Did we mention reaches? Are we talking about reaches now? All right, I'm going with Tariq Woolen, cornerback, UTSA, which I believe is Texas San Antonio. He is 6'3", 200 pounds, 205, I believe. He is an athletic freak. He can do everything. He's actually a converted wide receiver. Somewhat inexperienced at corner, so it's a little bit of a gamble with him. But the athletic traits this dude has, he was an unbelievable track and field athlete, which is near and dear to my heart. He was a good enough wide receiver, but they moved him to defensive back to help them out because they needed help on defense, and he was good enough to do that. He is a phenomenal athlete. He is big. He is tall. He can move. He's got loose hips. He can do everything you want to do out of a defensive backfield, and he is that big, lanky, press-type corner that Jack Del Rio loves. So I'm going Tariq Woolen, cornerback in round 2.
Oh man, the my thing with him is it's almost like it's Gibson, right? We got a project cornerback, project running back, somebody who's got to learn the position, but the physical tools sound awesome.
Yeah, that's a reach because I didn't see him go that high, but I know you were going there.
Well, we don't have a third round pick, so
that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. I mean, look, I'm all for athleticism, and it matters, but you got to have the folks on the staff to be able to cultivate that athleticism into productivity. I am not 100% convinced that we do, so it's certainly a risk. But the guy certainly has everything it takes to be successful. He's just got to put it together. So I can't hate on you too much. Byron, where are you going in the second round?
So I think Eric's right. I think because we don't have a third round pick, I think a lot of our second round picks are going to be reaches because we don't have that third round pick. So we may be going for a guy, but I'm going linebacker. We've heard all this talk about free agency. We were going to go get that Mike linebacker. Now Ron comes out and says, well, you know what? Cole Holcomb, who we don't want playing middle linebacker, can now play middle linebacker. So we need a middle linebacker. We need a guy who has linebacker instincts. And I'm going with Leo Chenal, linebacker from Wisconsin. He looks like a linebacker. He's 6'3", 250 pounds. He runs a 4.5, 340. His calling card is he is dominant in the run game. He is able to process and read run quickly, and he triggers downhill, and he has a lot of power to meet the blocker, shed the blocker, and blow up the run play. If you guys, notice a lot of our linebackers, they don't make plays past the line of scrimmage or in the offensive backfield. They're always running somebody down from behind because they are either too late to diagnose it or they're just out of position. He is dominant when it comes to reading the run. Is he good in man? No, he's not good in man coverage. He's decent in zone coverage, which is something we do a ton of. Man, not so much, but he is excellent in that run game, and it will be able to make tackles behind the line of scrimmage, something that we saw Landon Collins do a little bit once he finally made that transition to linebacker, and that started to help our defense. So that's something we need. We need a linebacker who can make some plays past the line of scrimmage.
So was Chad Muma gone in your mock when you picked? Just
Yeah.
out of curiosity, because I was like 99. That's where I thought you were going the whole time.
No, that was the guy. That is their guy. He's already interviewed with the team a couple of times already. It was one of their visits. So, but he was already gone. So, or otherwise I would have gone with him.
Yeah, mine too. Actually, this was why I was asking.
Yeah,
I think had we not moved back, I think you'd probably have a better shot at him. But since we swap with the Colts, yeah, he may not be there. But yeah,
exactly.
Chenault's an interesting pick.
So, and he's a good blitzer as well too.
Right.
Good. Right position, wrong player. Okay. I'm reaching here. I'm just going to put it out there. This is a gigantic reach in the second round, but I'm going Jacoby McClain, linebacker from Auburn. Okay. I love this guy. Absolutely love this guy because he is a straight up thumper. If you come through that hole, he's going to send you back to where you came from and put you on the ground. We have two linebackers in Jamin Davis and the other guy, Cole Holcomb, who are kind of weak at the point of attack. Not to say they're not decent at what they do. They're just not very strong when they make contact with the ball carrier. This guy is the exact opposite of that. Go YouTube this guy, Jacoby McClain. You watch him. He kind of looks like Ray Lewis coming through the hole at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, okay. Marvin Harrison again. You're just going straight to Hall of Famers every time.
I understand what I'm saying.
So, I have watched him a little bit, and my thought was Jeremiah Trotter.
Okay.
Probably a closer. Yeah, not Ray Lewis is a little strong. Yeah, a little bit. You think?
For a long time.
Yeah.
But he hits, and he is a big hitter, and we haven't had that in so long at the linebacker position. He can play the middle. He has some position flex. He can project out to the outside if you need him to, but I would love to see him develop in the middle. It might take you a little while just to bring him along for a few weeks. But oh my gosh, if you watch this guy tackle, everything is hard. The guy goes down, the ball comes out. It's just what he does. And how phenomenal would it be if we had somebody intimidating in the middle of the defense, since we don't really have it anywhere else on our defense, outside of the defensive line. I love this. I'm so excited by it. This is just, it made me happy because he plays angry and I love it. Jacoby McClain, linebacker.
Yeah, he might even be there in round 4, though, honestly.
He could be. Yeah, no, he could be.
Because he's pretty much a liability against the pass.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
Yeah, he's a two-down player.
I like the sentiment. We do need a tone setter in the middle because we've got some really nice guys on the outside. We need somebody with bad intentions in the middle to let everyone else know, no, you're not going to do it to us today. So I do like that part about him.
Yeah, I highly recommend you look at his YouTube film. Oh, so amazing. All right. We don't have a third round pick, as you guys said. Let's go to the fourth round. Eric, what are we doing there?
Well, I'm sticking with my guy. I took him in round 2 last time we did one of these mocks, but with all the moves at quarterback, I do think he's going to be there late, and he just happened to be in my mock, so I'm rolling with Carson Strong, quarterback out of Nevada. Honestly, my NFL comp for him, and this is just my personal one, is Nick Foles. So what better place to put him than backing up Carson Wentz? Why not? No, I do think he could supplant even Taylor Heineke as backup quarterback. Like, I think he doesn't have to because Heineke's good enough to stick around. But if you felt like Carson Strong had progressed enough, you could move on from Heineke this year. And I still like him as a player. I know he didn't have the best combine, didn't have the best Senior Bowl. Not that worried about it. He's not coming in to be our savior starter, and he's got plenty of time to develop. I think his knee injuries are a little bit overinflated. I think he's kind of proved that through the process. He's in decent health. He's not a speedster anyway, but I think it doesn't affect his dropbacks, his plants. He's a little skittish from what it looks like under pressure, which is odd for as much as he did or as much as he faced in college. But that's something that can be worked around, hopefully. And, potentially you've got a solid backup and a spot starter out of a 4th-round quarterback. I don't have a problem with it. Maybe potentially something more. So, yeah, Carson Strong, quarterback Nevada. He's my 4th-rounder.
Our guy, QB Spotlight, absolutely loves Carson Strong.
He might have influenced me a little bit.
He might have. This guy, he's such an interesting case because I think from the mental aspect of playing the quarterback position, he might be the best in the draft. Like, the guy is a quarterback through and through. But at the same time, you talked about the injuries. He could be, what's his name? Phillip Rivers, right? I'm throwing out lofty names tonight. I understand that. He could
be his NFL comp, I believe, is Joe Montana.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Somewhere.
That's the one. That's the right one.
With a sprinkle of Tom Brady. Yeah.
he could be Rivers or he could be Chris Winkie. That's the kind of thing that you don't know.
No, he's got a better arm than Winkie did.
Yeah, but he's got
a better arm than Winkie. Come on.
He's got worse legs, so we'll go with
that.
I
think Foles. I think Foles is fair. Foles is probably his ceiling, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, Foles is a good comp. That was mine for him. They're both kind of that lanky, body type, and both have really big arms. But I'm not a big fan of Strong, but I'm a big fan of drafting quarterbacks wherever you can. They're lottery tickets. If you hit on one, hey, that's all you need. So not my guy, but no. Take the quarterback. We need a quarterback, and I'm very scared that Ron's going to pass this draft by and not take one. So I like it.
Yeah, the team has all but said they're not taking one that early in the draft. So
that's day 3, though.
It is, but I think
they don't think he's good.
Needs.
We'll see.
We'll see.
He's my guy.
That's all good. Brian, who you got?
All right. So in round 4, we need to upgrade the running game, and I think we need somebody who's got the vision to handle some of the in between the tackles running, but also can kind of push our running game to the next level. So I'm going running back Pierre Strong Jr., South Dakota State. He's 5'11", 205. He has excellent vision between the tackles. You're not going to see, what we see currently with Gibson is sometimes he runs into the back of the offensive lineman. He gets 2 and 3 yards. I mean, how many big plays, big runs do you see Gibson have? He doesn't. And a lot of that is because of his vision. Our offensive line is pretty good, and they have opened up some pretty big holes for him. But he needs to get more yards. And I think bringing in a running back to kind of handle that duty and let Gibson kind of focus on, maybe catching some more passes, being split out wide, getting the football in space more, I think would be to his benefit and the offense. Pierre Strong Jr., again, excellent vision. He's got the ability to also catch passes out of the backfield, and he also knows how to set up defenders. So he can, whether it is a stiff arm, whether it's a juke move, he can also stack moves. Some running backs can only give you one move, and that's it. They're not able to do anything more than that. He's able to put multiple moves together and string big runs together. So this is a guy who has the ability and the potential to be an every down back, and I just think if we got him, our running game would really, really take off.
So a little bit undersized, doesn't have tremendous hands in the pass game. So he's going to be a little bit of a tell when he's in the game, similar to Jared Patterson. So
NFL comp is Barry Sanders, according to
Gail Sayers. No,
yeah.
I saw somebody. I saw a comp. It said Reggie Bush for him, and I was like, "That's
come on."
He has that type of speed, though. He has legit.
CJ Spiller. That's a better comp. CJ Spiller. And I like CJ. I love CJ Spiller coming out of school. Yeah. I thought he was going to be a superstar.
I could go with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I thought he was going to be amazing. So that's not a horrible comp, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't hate the pick. I just, running back in the 4th round is a big,
it's all to help Carson.
Yeah, you definitely are drafting. I'm going to go a little different angle here. I'm going to get Carson some help, but it's going to be at center and very likely a backup center at this point, some depth, possibly special teams that hopefully can develop into a starter. I'm going Luke Fortner, center out of Kentucky. He is a physical run blocker. He can get to the second level. He uses defenders' leverage to set up blocks very well. He's a big dude. He's strong. He's a Ron Rivera type player. He's probably not going to take over as a number 1 spot, but Keith Ishmael played a lot last year out of necessity. Didn't love what we saw out of that guy last year, even though I was a fan of his coming out of school. I think he came out of San Diego State. I just didn't like what we got out of him last year. So I think upgrading at that backup position would be very, very beneficial for us.
So the issue there is I believe Tyler Larson is the backup center now. Keith Ishmael's still around. So if he can play guard as well as center, he's got to have that position flex. But yeah, I don't know enough about him to tell you. But yeah, if he's got the center guard position flex, you can't have enough of those guys on the team because we go through centers like, Spinal Tap goes through drummers. Exactly. So like we need all of them. So yeah, I'm cool with the pick as long as he can play both.
Yeah, guard is the big thing because your depth is now tested, right? Because if we're assuming Wes Schweitzer is going to be your starting right guard, he was one of our depth guys. So, yeah, if he can do center and guard, because Larson is already the backup, and Ishmael, well, I mean, he has a big potential to get cut this training camp, being the third center, and not really kind of growing as a player. So yeah, if he can do that, absolutely. If not, then I don't know.
Well, I like him. All right.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
NFL comp, Mike Webster.
Round
I had to
6.
think for a minute for a Hall of Fame center, by the way.
It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Where are we going round 6, E?
Round 6. You guys took your 2 down linebackers way too early. I'm taking mine in round 6. I'm going with Joshua Ross out of Michigan, 6'2", 232 pounds, projects as a middle linebacker. And he is very much the same type of player that you guys both indicated. He's a thumper. He's an old school player. He hits hard. He brings people down. He struggles against the pass. Pretty much exactly what you guys did, but 3 rounds later. So that's what we're rolling with. Joshua Ross, linebacker, Michigan. He's our new middle linebacker.
All right, I'll take it. Never heard of him, but I'll take it.
You ever heard of a random 6-round pick? That's what they said about Brady.
Yeah,
That's right. My family's from Michigan. I'm a huge Wolverines fan. I'm not a huge Wolverines fan, but I watch them when they're on TV. I like the pick, but you just don't expect starter potential out of a 6-round pick. So, we took. Don't forget Kaliki Hudson out of Michigan in the 4th round a few years ago.
Yeah.
And my man has like 3 tackles to his NFL credit.
Yeah. But if you're thinking about a specialty linebacker who's basically there to play the run, I mean, that's your later round pick, because he's probably not going to be in there in the dime package or the nickel package. He's not a pass covering linebacker. So I'm taking that type of player later in the draft. And if he works out, awesome. He could be more.
Speaking of Hudson, do we think he because at Michigan, he kind of played that strong safety linebacker, almost Landon Collins type role this year. Do we think he gets some more run now with Landon Collins gone?
I mean, I think he'll get the chance to, but it's up to him to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the same, he could have had it before Landon Collins did. So, we needed that. We needed to move a safety into linebacker to that position last year with Hudson on the roster. So I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm sure he'll get the opportunity.
Okay. So I recently said one of the things that disappointed me most about Cam Sims was in a year where we struggled to even sign and field wide receivers, he didn't take advantage of his opportunity as much as I felt like he should have.
Yeah.
Kaliki Hudson was on a roster last year where we had 1 linebacker on the field for the entirety of a game and got no snaps hardly. Yeah. I don't think there's much more there that we're going to be able to get at this point. I think he's a special teams guy, and I think that's what he's going to amount to. No disrespect to Mr. Hudson, but all the opportunity in the world was there last year to step up and do something, and it just didn't happen. So I don't know why we would just automatically expect more just because Landon's not on the roster.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think, he'll have the opportunity just like he did last year. It's just up to him to take advantage of it.
Gotcha.
Right.
All right. It's my turn, right?
It is.
All right. My 6th round pick, Ron Rivera watched all year as we got no pass rush. Chase Young's coming off ACL. We don't know if he'll be ready or what he'll look like when he does come back. We signed another Carolina Panther as a backup defensive end. So I'm going with Amari Barno, edge rusher, Virginia Tech. This is a supremely athletic individual, but he's very raw. He is 6'5", 246, ran a 4.36 40. He has great first step explosiveness. So essentially, once he gets off the ball, he's able to gain ground on that offensive tackle. He's not very strong. Again, he's 6'5", 246, a little bit on the leaner side. Our defensive ends are a little bit bigger. They're 260, 265 range, and pretty strong. So he will need to get stronger. But with his speed, with his first step quickness, with his able to kind of slip blocks, run around the edge, he can certainly contribute early as a situational pass rusher. And we need more. We saw last year We didn't have anything else behind Montez and Chase. Jonathan Allen's the only guy rushing the passer. Deron Payne is not really a factor in rushing the passer. Bun me, routine me, James Smith Williams, they can't rush the passer at all. We need more guys who can do it. This is a great place to get a guy who is supremely athletic but raw. He needs to develop some pass rushing moves. But in the meantime, you can use that first step explosiveness, that speed in multiple ways and be productive year one.
Yeah, it's the spot to take a project as you get later on to day 3, unlike second-round cornerbacks that are projects.
Yep.
I stand by my pick.
Washington loves late-round defensive lineman picks, so I could totally see that materializing. So I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go running back. Kiante Ingram from USC was formerly of Texas. He's sort of the anti-Gibson, and I love Gibson. Gibson's my favorite offensive player. Please don't go in the comments saying I hate Antonio Gibson. I don't. But Gibson needs a true, pure running back behind him. Yep. He does. It'll make him better too. Kiante Ingram is that. He's a downhill runner. He's a great runner out of the pistol, and this is why I picked him, because we are in pistol formation so daggone much, and that's when we run our 2-run plays, as Eric likes to say, out of the pistol. So he's good at that. He has great vision, and he runs low. One thing about Gibson is he runs really, really high with the ball in his hands. This guy tucks it and gets low. He's going to hit the hole hard, and he's going to get his yards. Kiante Ingram, don't forget the name. He would be a tremendous 6th-round pick.
No, I like him. He's on the list of running backs who I would take if other guys aren't there. So I like that guy. He had a really nice Senior Bowl. Really good in between the tackles, good vision. I like him.
Yeah, it's going to be if he goes to the right team, he's got to go to the right place. I think he can succeed here, given the opportunity. Yep. It's the right type of system. But yeah, it depends on where he ends up to how successful he can be.
Yeah, he reminds me of a 49ers type of running back.
Yeah, I was going to say he sounds like a Shanahan guy. That dude that just like nobody's ever heard of that comes out and rushes for 1,500 yards and goes to another team and doesn't do anything.
Orlando.
So why not let that be us?
Hayden Hillis, yeah.
All right, let's get into the deep part of the draft. 7th round.
Eric, this is my favorite pick of all of the ones that I've made. I'm going to the running back position too, and I'm going to BYU. I'm taking Tyler Allgeier. I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly. This dude loves to hit people. He played linebacker in high school. He still thinks he plays linebacker when he's carrying the ball. He seeks out contact, but I'm gonna go the LE route, like Christian Okoye back in the day. Like he just will just not go out of bounds just so that he can hit somebody when he's running with the ball. He's probably gonna have like a 2-year career rushing the ball, but he can seriously be a really good running back in this league for a very short time, because he's going to fall apart. Like he really is a mean, powerful runner. He can churn out yards. He's got good feet, good vision. He makes the right cuts. He takes care of the ball. He could potentially go to a team, especially like in a power running game. So I don't know how great we could use him. If we go in, if Scott calls his dad and says, how do I use this guy? He can be used like Stephen Davis was back in the day. Like he is a legit power back, and he can be a goal line guy. I love this pick. I would love to see this dude in Burgundy Gold next year. Tyler Allgeier, remember his name.
Yeah, no, he's a good one. I like him. I think the best comp I heard for him was James Conner. I think they're very similar players. Good between the tackles, good vision, will lower their shoulder and move the pile type player. So I like that. I like him. He's good.
No flash, all substance. Not my kind of guy, but I understand the pick. He would make a lot of sense.
I'm going in that first pick in that 7th round, cornerback Josh Blackwell out of Duke. He is 6 foot, a little light, 175 pounds, runs a 4.3. He is a good zone coverage corner. What do we do here in Washington? We love our soft zone coverage so we can give up 10-yard catches every time. So he'll fit right in. He's got a good ability to break on the football. Once he reads the play, diagnoses it, he's got good speed to break on it. He struggles in man coverage, but again, for me, it was about the system. We run lots of zone here. He's a good zone corner. that makes sense for me. Tackling, he does need to get a little bit better. He's not going to be a great help in the run game, but something he can work on. So, but again, good speed, decent size, cornerback late.
And he can play special teams.
Yeah, special teams.
So yeah, there's the athletes. You draft athletes late. He's definitely an athlete.
So basically, Jimmy Moreland all over.
Duke's a bigger school though. He came from D1.
He did.
Not FBS.
Yeah, that's the right place to take those kind of guys, and you see with his ability. Makes sense. Go Keel Glass out of Alabama A&M. Look, he's a project quarterback, no doubt about it. He has a great arm. He throws with great touch in the intermediate throws, but he struggles with his deep ball accuracy. This is the kind of guy that I think Ron Rivera is talking about them taking when they say they're going to take a quarterback in the draft or late in the draft, excuse me. So you put him on the roster, you see what you can get out of him. Maybe he's worth something, maybe he's not, but you move on if he isn't, right? He's a bottom of the roster guy, probably practice squad for most of the year. He's a camp arm. He's going to play in preseason. So you give him an opportunity and you see what you got. A Keel Glass.
UDFA.
Yeah.
I don't think you draft him. Like I mean, I don't have a problem with exactly what you said. I just don't think you need to draft him because I think he's going to be around. Of course, he doesn't, he may not want to come to Washington like nobody else does, but yeah, if you really, really want to have a Keel Glass at the bottom of your roster, I guess you could take a shot up on the draft. I don't know.
From the organization that just traded for Carson Wentz and traded a fifth for Kyle Allen because they weren't sure they could get them on the roster, I could see them spending the 7th round pick on a Keel Glass.
Yeah.
I think Keel Glass is similar to Steven Montez. They have physical tools, but they need so much time to develop that I think the guys that you would draft are probably going to go in the first 3 rounds of this draft. And I think everybody else, I think like Eric said, they're probably guys you just sign as undrafted free agents.
Well, hating on my pick. That's fine. Just say
That's
what it is.
How's it feel, man? You guys been doing that to me for like 2 mock drafts now.
I'm all fine.
It just rotates.
Exactly. You're next, buddy. Yeah.
It'll be mine next time.
All right. We got one more pick in the 7th. Eric, what do you got?
He's my our Mr. Irrelevant, not the last pick in the draft, but our last pick. I'm going to go safety. We're going athlete. Isaiah Polamau, not Troy Polamalu, no relation. Isaiah Polamau. He's a back of the roster safety. I don't know what else to tell you. He'll be able to play special teams. He might even be able to supplant Troy Apke on the roster. I know that's blasphemy, but
not possible.
Like he's I don't know. Bakari Rambo probably is your he's a dude who's like people are going to see him and he's going to make a super athletic play and people are going to fall in love with him in preseason, and he'll just I don't know if he'll ever amount to anything, but as a back of the roster guy, he definitely can play special teams. He can play free safety. He can come up and he's a reasonably solid tackler, but he's a 7th round pick for a reason. It's a lot of potential, not a lot of production thus far. So we'll see. I like him as a special teams guy and, like I said, back of the roster safety. Isaiah Polamau, that's his name.
As long as he can supplant Bobby McCain, then I'm all for that.
He's not taking over Bobby McCain's job. Not in year 1 anyway.
You got to let it go. McCain's starting, man.
Yeah, he's your guy.
That's what it is.
All right. My pick, last one in the 7th round. This guy may actually go a little bit earlier in the draft I was using. He was available. Offensive lineman, guard, tackle prospect, Andrew Stuber, Michigan. He is a behemoth. He is 6'7", 338 pounds. And he is just like a typical Michigan offensive lineman. He is nasty. He's dominant in the run game. He's an excellent drive blocker. He brings a lot of power to the point of attack, and he can uproot defenders and move them off their spot. But that's where he excels. He's not so good when it comes to handling speed rushers. He doesn't move his feet side to side that well, so he will struggle with speed. He played some right tackle in college. More than likely, he may shift inside to guard, so he does give you positional flexibility, which is popular with Rivera and Matsko. And he plays with an attitude. He's one of those guys. He'll rub your face in the dirt after he knocks you down a little bit, and he'll let you know about it. So I think if you're getting an offensive lineman, You want him to be mean, nasty, and you also want him to be able to play multiple positions. And he can do that with guard and with tackle, but he does need some work on his pass game as well. But Andrew Stuber, offensive lineman, Michigan.
Can't have too many offensive linemen. Big Ten offensive linemen are the best ones.
That's it. Big Ten all day.
That's
Absolutely. And with that said, I'm going to go outside of the Big Ten to get an offensive tackle. It is swing tackle Myron Cunningham from Arkansas.
Oh,
you talk about big. Homeboy is 6'6", 325. He can move a little bit. He can play either side of the line. He does have technique issues that he's going to need to clean up to have some longevity in the NFL, I should say. He plays way too high and he bends at the waist, which is a big no-no for offensive tackles. But if you can get out of him effort and cultivate his technique to the point where he is consistently performing that technique, I think you might have a steal in this draft. He's projected as a 5th-round pick, but I think because of his technique issues, he could potentially slide. There are a lot of tackles in this draft that I think people would be interested in, possibly ahead of him. But I like the pick here because you see what you got. Our offensive line depth took a little bit of a hit this year, so guys are going to move around a little bit. We don't know what we have in Sadiq Charles. He's been around the roster for this is going to his 3rd season. I think we've seen him play like 3 games. So I am ready to add some depth on the offensive line. He is a powerful player, can get out of sorts a little bit because of the sloppy technique at times, but I think he has a ton of potential, and let's see how we can develop that potential. So
I think he has a ton of potential at guard.
I think he's more of a swing tackle. He could play guard, I guess. I don't know.
Derek Dockery.
Ooh.
That's good. And that's not a knock at all. That's the potential. I mean, because the athletic potential, bends at the waist, sloppy technique. You just basically gave Derek Dockery's 6'6", 325. That's a scouting report coming out of college.
I take that.
Yeah, no, I would too. I mean, he had a long career. He was very good for us twice. So yeah, no problem there.
Yeah,
but, I would think guard more than tackle, but that's just me.
Yeah,
I like the offensive line guru that I am.
Arkansas's put out some offensive linemen here these last couple of years. There's some good offensive linemen. So, no, I'm all for that. And if we do get them, then we can get JR back on the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. Our guy, the agent. Yes. Eric, which one of your picks do you feel like is the most realistic to be selected on or about where you picked for the Commanders?
Honestly, now I got to go back and look where I picked all these guys because, man, I have the memory of a hamster. So give me a second. Yeah, honestly, Joshua Ross, 5th round. I think he's going to be there, and I think he's a need because I don't think they're going to fill inside linebacker before then. So, yeah, I think he's probably most likely. Or all guy are in the 6th. Somebody might fall in love with him and take him a little higher, but I'll go with Ross.
Okay. What about you, Brian?
I think the 4th round running back, Pierre Strong will be there. I think he may go in the 3rd round because he's starting to creep up people's board. But I think we as a team, I think we're going to target running back, and I think 4th round is that kind of sweet spot. There are other guys. There's James Cook out of Georgia. There's also his teammate Zamir White. That's there as well. There's Rashad White out of Arizona State. There's several running backs in that 4th round. I think would be a great place to get a guy.
Okay, I can dig it. I have 2 actually. I do like Andrew Booth Jr. in the 1st round. I agree with Eric. If anything, at 11, if that's our sort of choice range, I can see us moving back to help somebody else get a quarterback. So we might be picking him in the 18 to 20 range. That would be a better value pick for him at that point. And I also like Kiante Ingram late because I agree with you, Brian. We are going to address the running back position in the draft. It's just a matter of who and when. I think in the 6th round, you can still find really, really good value at the running back position. So to Brian's earlier question, Eric, what do you think? So we kind of picked what we felt like were good picks and what made sense, but what do you ultimately see the Commanders doing at 11 if you could guess now?
Honestly, I think they're going to go with a linebacker. I think it's going to be, if like Nakobe Dean is there, that's probably what they're going to roll with because that's what they do. They take the best defensive player they think on the board in the 1st round. So I'm thinking, Nakobe Dean, potentially a corner, but I think inside linebacker is most likely what they're going to do. although they should pick Jameson Williams.
Okay, Brian, same question for you.
Yeah, no, I think they're with the 11 pick. If their receiver target is not there, I think they're trying hard as they can to trade back. Whether or not anybody will trade with them is going to be the big question, because we've heard all draft. Well, the quarterbacks aren't that great. The quarterbacks aren't that great. Well, what do you trade up for? You trade up to get a quarterback. So there may not be anybody willing to trade up with us on there. So I really think that they're going to target a weapon of some kind, and whether it's Garrett Wilson or maybe it's Treylon Burks. I don't know.
Yeah, I still don't see the offensive weapon being the pick there, just because of what Pete Prisco said. And I think, this team really likes what they do in the draft. Now, do they produce? That remains to be seen, but they seem to like their picks. I think this could actually be a guard pick.
Yeah.
Keon Green from Texas.
That was kind of my dark horse too, was actually either a guard or a tackle and sliding what's his name? Yeah, Cosme into guard. That was one of my thoughts initially as well, and I almost went with that, but I just didn't see a tackle that late. But I didn't consider drafting a guard at 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not a bad thought at all.
Yeah, one of our listeners, I think Freddie Lee, asked that very question: can Cosme slide inside? If it's not him, I apologize, but I think it was him. Yeah. And I think you're absolutely on point. That could really be a realistic scenario, depending on what happens elsewhere. So that's our mock draft, guys. We want to hear about your mock drafts. Make sure you hit us in the comment sections with what you think the picks might be. Tell us what picks you hated, which picks you loved, which ones were absolutely crazy for thinking they might even do that at all. We like to see those. We absolutely read all the comments that we get. Eric, so let me ask you this question. We have Antonio Gibson going into his third year in the league. He's been productive. He's had 1,000 yards last year. I think he had 700 something plus his rookie season. How big of a need is running back at this point for us?
I don't think it's not a gaping hole, because you have Gibson, you have McKissick back, but I think a third running back. I think if somebody can beat out Jared Patterson, I think you need to find that person. Because if Gibson were to go down for like an extended period of time, I just don't know that Patterson would be a guy that could carry the load for 3 or 4 games. I could be wrong. He could be, but I mean, he's just kind of a bowling ball. He's a nice change of pace. He did, produce when he got a chance last year. I'm just not sure he could hold up as the lead back for more than, a game or two. So if Gibson, which running backs get hurt, that's just what happens in the NFL. So if you can improve your third running back and get a rotation, I don't see why that. I mean, I would definitely consider that a need. I don't know that it's a high round need, but it's definitely a need.
It is. And Jonathan Williams right now, to me, is our second best running back. I'm not including J.D. McKissick in that group because he has a different and very specific role. But I think Jonathan Williams is our number 2 running back in terms of on the depth chart right now, because I wasn't overly impressed with what I saw from Patterson. So I think you got to continue to try to upgrade that position and see what you can do. Brian, I know you're not the biggest McCain fan in the world. Do you think
hadn't noticed?
Yeah, I hadn't heard. So there's been a lot of rumors about Kyle Hamilton slipping potentially down to 11. If he's there, knowing what we have at safety, we just re-signed McCain. Are you going that route if he's available at 11?
No. I'm not a Kyle Hamilton believer. And that's not to say that I think he's like a bad player or anything. I think he's a good player. I don't think he is worthy of the 11 pick or higher. I don't believe he's a free safety, and a free safety to me is the only guy that you could say safety wise that could be that high. I think he is a strong safety who can cover some tight ends, who you could blitz, who can help you on the run game. I just don't see him as being that center fielder, side to side type guy. So I wouldn't go that round. Rivera, Herney, all those guys, they traditionally they don't draft secondary guys very high, right? They're front seven guys. They're more linebackers and defensive linemen that they take over it, and they get, Josh Norman out of the 6th round or whatever he was, and, kind of build him up into a higher round or a, top performing type player. So particularly, I think there are better safety prospects, better free safety prospects that would suit us better. But I still don't think we're even going to touch safety or look for a free safety, honestly.
So what
I always get a little wary with players that rise or fall after the season, like in the pre-draft process. I'm more of a production, like, what did you do during the season? Like, why were people so high on you at the end of the season? People loved Kyle Hamilton at the end of the season. It's just like this pre-draft stuff. I personally, from what I saw of him, wasn't like, I didn't think he was a top 10 pick when I first saw him. I think he plays a little bit high. I think he plays tight. And I mean, his hips he's not like a fluid player, that from what I can tell. Again, I haven't closely inspected him, but the highlights that I see is just basically him coming up and hitting people without a lot of context around them. From what I've seen, I haven't seen him really flip his hips and get after the ball.
Exactly.
He doesn't strike me as a top 10 player. He could very well be, because again, I haven't really watched enough of him. But I'm a little wary because people loved him at the end of the season, and then just kind of falls off, during the poking and prodding. So I'm a little wary of that. I think he still could potentially be a good player. I just don't know if he's a top 10. He's definitely, I'd give him a first round, put him in the first round. But I'm weird. I have a weird, I don't get him. I don't understand. I don't know how I feel about him, I guess, as a player is the best way to put it. I'm not in love with him, but a lot of people were when they saw him play. So, I don't know where he's going to go. Yeah, I don't know if he's the best fit here, though, because I agree with Brian. I don't think he's a center fielder. He's not a pure free safety like what's needed. He's certainly no Bobby McCain.
Well, who is? Who is
exactly.
Bobby McCain? Something I thought about that I wouldn't put past Rivera and his staff is there's a ton of defensive linemen that are first round worthy in this draft, and there'll be a bunch available at 11. What would you guys think if Rivera said, you know what, here's Jordan Davis from UGA, or some other defensive lineman, maybe an edge rusher? I mean, there's going to be a ton of edge rushers available. I think the guy from Florida State, Johnson, who will be available around 11 as well too. Like, what if that happened? A defensive lineman, edge rusher, or defensive tackle? What would you guys think?
I think that we'd be talking this time next year about what Brian and Leftwich just thinking about doing in the draft for next season.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting traded. I can't see if you draft somebody that high that you keep somebody like Deron Payne around. Because you can't. There's just not enough. You're not moving Payne to defensive end, and Jordan Davis isn't going to be a defensive end. So I don't know. Edge rusher maybe, but that's kind of the death knell for maybe Montez Sweat. I think he's on his way out if you draft an edge rusher that high. But at some point you got to make those decisions, because you're going to have to pay all those guys if you want to keep them around. And Payne and Sweat and those guys and Young's coming. They're all coming up. Yeah. So maybe you do start getting younger there. But I think you move on from those guys while you can get something for them if that's the case.
Yeah, I can't see
it would be a bold move.
It would be bold for sure, to say the least. But man, if we added a 5th first-round draft pick on that defensive line and have won a combined 20 games the last 3 years,
we're going high school ball, running the 53 defense.
That's exactly like what Rivera and his staff would do. We're over here picking wide receivers and stuff, and he'll go pick the edge rusher.
Yeah.
All right. It is time to get on our soapbox. Eric, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I had a tough time with this one. I almost changed it there at the last minute, but I'm going to go with my original thoughts. Ron Rivera came out the day before yesterday and said he is darn tired of his football team being the easy target that it is, and the only way to fix that is to win. Well, good for you, Ron. You figured out what we all know. But that's kind of like harder than it sounds. It's like, I'm a terrible golfer, and I'm sick of being a terrible golfer. And the only way to fix that is for me to start hitting the ball straight 300 yards. How do you go about doing that? Because it's a long, arduous process. That's just on the field. You still got to, dare I say it, win off the field, which we're still not doing at this point. I think Ron Rivera is starting to realize that this project that he took on is a lot tougher than he anticipated it being. I'm still rooting for you, Ron, but you got to turn things around soon.
Very, very soon. Very soon. Absolutely. Brian, get on your soapbox.
That was the exact soapbox that I had built. Was the one that Eric just took. So I'll add to it because I think that's a good soapbox for Ron. Ron wants the narrative to change. He's tired of people talking about doom and gloom. Well, Ron, you are the one with your finger directly tied to how well we do. You are the ones bringing the players in, deciding who gets extended, who doesn't, who we trade, who we don't trade for, who we draft. You can change the narrative so quickly. Draft a quarterback. That brings hope to the fan base of a new possibility. You trade for a quarterback who's been maligned by two cities. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to get more bad, energy, more bad press, all of those things around you. You fumble the quarterback position multiple times over and over again. Do you think people are going to be happy about that? You are the one directly in control of it. You've got to start understanding that, taking some different decisions, making some different decisions, and moving faster, being more proactive, and getting guys signed and those types of things. But Ron, it starts with you, man. Like, you are the guy who controls it, and you could have done so many different things to change that narrative. Like today, you could have signed Bobby Wagner. It had been reported he was looking for a 1-year deal until the Rams decided to just print more money and give him a 5-year deal. You could have brought in Honey Badger, safety, anybody else to kind of change the narrative to, give some hope and turn some things around, but you didn't. You chose to bring back old Panthers players and trade for Carson Wentz. So you are where you are because of it.
All right. So we're entering an unprecedented era in the NFL. Over the next 5 years, the GM of a team may actually become more valuable than your head coach. All around the league, teams are inventing new ways to sign 15 players to deals equivalent to Elon Musk's total net worth and yet somehow remain under the salary cap. The days of conservative and fiscally responsible team building are becoming a thing of the past. Frivolous aggression is the new team building. It's all about the dollar and how quickly you can spend it to collect as many big name players as possible. The front offices who don't get on board are going to become the dinosaurs of the sport. I hope the Commanders figure this out sooner rather than later. We've had our fill of Ernie Grunfeld type teams in this town. Lord help us if Carson Wentz is the new Randy Foye of quarterbacks. That is it. That is our show. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Love you. Keep checking us out. Tell a friend to tell a friend.